Welcome, boys. Welcome back. It is absolutely an honor for me to continue speaking. I actually enjoy and really love you guys. I swear, telling you these stuff and learning that I actually help some of you guys is an amazing feeling for me. So, without further ado, in this specific video, I'm going to talk about the ultimate productivity. Gosh, there's a spelling error. The ultimate productivity hack, the system that I use, the ideas and principles that I realize that has helped me become literally 5 times more productive than I was literally a few months back. So in this video, I'm going to tell you guys some of the productivity skills that you guys should literally try out in order to see much better results. Atomic Habits, the book, explains the reason why we basically set convenient routines and habits for us. And it basically explains that we human beings are lazy. I'm a lazy person, you're a lazy person, and the majority of people are actually lazy. So, this is something that you boys and girls have to accept, that we are absolutely lazy beings. But to our advantage, what are some of the ways and tools we can use it for us to benefit on the things that we want to achieve? We are programmed to be lazy. Understand that we are actually lazy beings. And so that means that the work and the necessities that you guys have to do for you to basically be productive has to be made as convenient as possible. There's a very interesting article I read a few days ago, and that explains the correlation between why users are so actively watching TikTok, and it's because the functionality of scrolling through is absolutely convenient for the lazy people, that basically creates a dopamine effect of you being addicted to that particular motion and basically being addicted to TikTok. So, whatever work that you currently are doing, you have to find a specific way to make it as convenient as possible. Whether it's filtering your emails, whether it's finding automation systems for your messages to be responded, for you to hire a virtual or personal assistant to do the paperwork, for example, or other stuff like finding someone else to do video editing. For example, Pareto's law 80/20 explains this quite well. So Pareto's law basically describes the idea of finding the 20% of things in terms of productivity that result to 80% of the results. So basically, whatever you're doing right now, you have to understand that this formula explains that there are only 20% of the stuff that you currently do that yields to the 80% of the results. So at whatever business or whatever work you're currently doing, whether it's your homework, whether it's writing emails, or whether it's approaching acquiring clients, find out the 20% of the things that actually accumulate 80% of the results. Everything else you have to be absolutely strict, eliminate it. Doing things now. So this is a habit that I had to learn and develop over literally some time. And it's anything that I receive at the moment, do it immediately. In the book Discipline is Destiny by Ryan Holiday, it explains this one gentleman. Gosh, I forgot his name. He was the mayor of New York back then during the 60s and 70s. He was the person responsible for building up his city. And he was basically the man that describes the moment he got work on his desk, it was immediately done. So he didn't procrastinate. He didn't do it the next day. He didn't push it to a few hours later. He did it immediately. He dropped every single other current work you did and focus on what is most important. I believe that the key takeaway here is to basically realize that the work you have, and then literally being absolutely harsh on the priorities of what you got to do now. An effective work desk. So that is one of the tools that this gentleman basically explained during the 60s and 70s. The idea of having an effective work desk, which I also explain in my other videos, is an ultimate formula for your productivity. If your work desk is created or set up in a way that doesn't really make you productive, no matter how hard you try and how many hours you spend, if your work desk is not an effective environment for you to work in, no matter how hard you try, it's not going to work. So check out the other video on literally how to organize your work desk quite nicely. But that is an absolute effective, at least, strategy for you to move forward. Create a calendar to do system. So whatever tool or applications or software you guys are currently using, the most popular are Google Calendar. For Apple, I believe it's just called Calendar, or Apple Calendar. I personally use Todoist, and it's basically a powerful calendar that also uses some AI tools that helps me set meetings and specific appointments and tasks and daily activities automatically. So that is an absolute powerful tool. It's called Todoist, and it's something that you guys have to incorporate into your daily life. You need to have a calendar. You need to have some sort of a schedule or a structured system, so that you realize what happens within the next few days, or what happens basically throughout the day. Parkinson's law: 2 days is basically greater than 2 weeks. Parkinson's law is an amazing concept, obviously invented by the gentleman Mr. Parkinson, and he basically describes that whenever you get a deadline, whenever you get a date, of a specific due date on something, instead of realizing that it's due in 3 weeks or 2 weeks, shorten it down into 2 days. The book 4 Hour Work Week by Timothy Ferriss explained this very, very well. He explained that if you have work that is due in 2 weeks, realize that it's, for example, due in only 2 days, because we are fundamentally wired in such a way that if we know that the due date and the deadline of a specific task or project is very far away, then our body is programmed in such a way that we will automatically procrastinate. So every time, no matter how long the due date is, whatever the extended deadline is, if you realize that that deadline is very far away, literally shorten it. Shorten it for yourself. Say, you know what? I'll make this due in 3 days. I'll make this due in 2 days, sometimes even 24 hours, and you will get that work done immediately. The hardest in the morning, you guys have probably heard this in many, many different areas or from many, many other speakers. The hardest in the morning is the absolute important, um, ideal hack for you to actually achieve the hardest stuff in the morning. So the moment you wake up, find out what the hardest task is. I typically do this the night before, and literally do this in the morning. Trust me, you want to be relaxed, you want to be chilled throughout the rest of the day. Find a structure, find a schedule to place the hardest tasks in the morning. Last but not least, coffee is an ultimate hack. Coffee has changed. I do think maybe I drink it too much, but coffee has changed a lot of areas in my life and has literally led me to enormous energy bursts and enormous productivity flows, I like to describe it, but has ultimately brought my engine and my brain functioning. So coffee is an ultimate hack. If you don't drink coffee because of some issues with caffeine, then obviously avoid it. But coffee is something that you should definitely try and realize how powerful it is, in terms of getting work done.